None of what you're about to see or hear is an opinion or an experiment. I'm Holland Cooke, and I want to talk about your business's message. Is your message cutting through the clutter? According to Yankelovich research, every day your customers pass 5,000 advertising messages. They see 285 of them, and they only notice 6. How can we get yours to be one of those 6? Everything we do is storytelling. And every single word matters. Examples. This doesn't work. This is like in Charlie Brown Christmas, that muted trombone you hear when the grown-ups talk, wah, wah, wah. Example of what does work? This doesn't work. The word needs is a red flag. It's a commercial copy cliche. Here's what works. You notice what the two good messages have in common? Magic words, you and your. Can you make the very first sentence of your message a question which includes you and or your? For example, this is a commercial I have written for family law attorneys in a dozen different cities. And no matter how happily married you think you are, if you hear this message as you're pulling into your parking space, you sit there with a key on accessories to hear the rest of the commercial. When you're composing your message, start in their world. What is the need, the want of your prospective customer? Then bring them into your world, the solution. The infiltration of technology into every part of our lives has made many people seek out personal, low-tech, high-touch experiences and relationships with companies they patronize. For example, here's what passes for a supermarket cashier now. Just one of the many robots we're becoming accustomed to dealing with in the course of a normal day. So the personal touch will be conspicuous. Example, insurance agency. What is your problem? Internet competitors, Flo and a gecko. What's the benefit of using a local agent instead? Personal service. And here's an example, a commercial I have written for insurance agents that's on the radio in a bunch of different cities. Hopefully you'll never get in an accident, but that's why they call it insurance. And if you do need to file a claim, Mary Beth and her staff are right here and will handle everything for you. It's what they do. Who do you call if you got your insurance online? Flo? A gecko? I find it very effective when a commercial voiced by the advertiser says, grab a pen, I'm going to give you my cell phone number. That is the opposite of a robot or an internet vendor. Your message needs to convey specific benefits. And prospects respond to authenticity when you're describing those benefits, which is why testimonial commercials voiced by station personalities are such effective radio advertising. And I coach a lot of radio talent, and I will share with you what I tell them. Sound relatable, because you, the endorser, are a customer too. So allude to your own consumer experience. And as you do, work both sides of the brain. Now, I know this sounds a little touchy-feely, but there is some science behind it. Your left brain is the thinking part of your brain. Your right brain is your feeling part of your brain. On the left, analytical thought, logic, language, science and math, rationality, objectivity. It's reality-based. On the right lobe, intuition, creativity. You're impetuous. You're fantasy-based. You're susceptible to storytelling. Here's a specific example. Think about the local grocery store or the local supermarket slugging it out against the big regional supermarket chains. You're doing the endorsement spot, describing your experience as a customer. Talk to the right brain. Appeal to the customer's feelings. Tell them a story. By the time I got to the cashier, I handed her a peach pit. It was that delicious, and she handed me a Kleenex because it was that juicy. Then appeal to their left brain with facts. If you have your kids with you, you might want to go all the way to the right because there's no candy or supermarket tabloids in that lane. And when the personality is doing the testimonial commercial live, they can allude to spontaneous circumstances. For instance, if it's raining heavily that day and the supermarket has covered parking, say that. Another way to sound authentic is for you, the advertiser, to do the commercial, but not reading a script. You're not an announcer. You're an expert at what you sell and how to cure the problem, how to deliver the convenience that the prospective customer desires. So rather than scripting something for you to read, what we often do is interview you, just get you talking about your product or service, and then use sound bites from that conversation in the commercial. Are you your best storyteller? Here's an example from the station I work with in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And tell me this doesn't sound like Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
We never just turn anyone down. We're going to sit down with them and we're going to show them exactly what it takes to improve their credit so they can buy a home.
I'm talking with Skip Shows from Key Lending Solutions.
If you've had a credit problem, we understand how the credit systems work. We can help folks improve their credit.
You're a one-stop shop. You do it all.
It doesn't matter whether you're looking for a government product, which would be FHA, VA, or you're going to do a standard conventional type loan. If you come in our office, we have the loan program for you.
You're not part of a big national chain. You are local.
Everybody in our office is from Louisiana, and when you call our office, you can tell because we sound like the folks from here.
You make it easy. People can go online.
www.keylending.solutions.com.
A 10-minute phone call could have you on your way to home ownership.
It's a fast, cheap way to get into a home, and it beats paying rent.
291-7901.
It's fast, it's free, and our folks will surprise you.
291-7901.
We have the loan program for you.
www.keylending.solutions.com.
Meanwhile, in North Carolina, we had an accounting firm, 2 CPAs, partners. Sat them down in the recording studio with the 2 guys who do the morning show on the radio station and just asked them to pretend they met at a cocktail party, chat them up, get them talking about their business. And one of them said, "Is the biggest beneficiary of your IRA the IRS?" Just popped right out of his mouth, and it became their marketing slogan. Are you your best storyteller? Local radio can be the most effective ad medium for local advertisers defending share against big box and e-commerce competitors in any category. This might be the best commercial I heard all year in 2017. This is an expensive camera, and the advertiser was 100 miles away from the radio station that sold the camera, and within a couple of days of the commercial appearing, they sold 5 or 6 of them. Here's how. The voice you're about to hear is the station manager of the radio station in Tyler, Texas, and here's how he got listeners to drive 100 miles to Dallas.
Will I really help you set up and use your Fujifilm X-T2 mirrorless camera from Competitive Cameras in Dallas? Yes, absolutely. Hi, Paul Gleiser here. I love my Fuji X-T2. I have a cabinet full of cameras and more, it's the camera I reach for first, particularly when I travel. The compact form and lightweight make the XT2 a near-perfect travel companion. Set 3 controls to the letter A, and it's the best point-and-shoot camera you could ever own. And with some experience and confidence, the easily accessed controls on your Fuji X-T2 make it a top-level professional tool. So much better than your cell phone and not much more bulk and weight. And the X-T2 is part of a complete system. Over time, add lenses from the exquisitely designed Fuji lens selection. Yes, I really use my X-T2 a lot, and you will too. And yes, call me when you have your X-T2, and we'll go over it here at the radio station over lunch. So where to get it? Competitive Cameras in Dallas. One store, everything photographic. On Irving Boulevard in Dallas and online at competitivecameras.com.
It's an extraordinary gesture, and he has yet to serve anybody lunch in the conference room. But if he did, he'd record that and turn that into a commercial. No matter what your approach is, know this. Loud and fast is a thing of the past. Low and slow is the way to go. Too many radio commercials are about 66 seconds worth of copy, full of cliches, not enough you and your, over music. They all sound alike. It's blah, blah, blah that's in one ear and out the other. But what if instead of 66 seconds worth of copy, you wrote about 56 seconds? So the message could breathe, and you were showing the ear the respect that a customer deserves. Here's what else doesn't work. We've already talked about for all your name of product needs. Something else you should avoid in commercial copy, and so much more, which means they've run out of things to say. Research demonstrates one voice too fast, over music, goes in one ear and out the other, and that commercials with 2 voices produce better results. Never ask the customer to solve your problem. Instead, solve theirs. But still, everywhere I go in my travels, I hear loud commercials for car dealers say, "We've got to sell 60 cars this weekend." Why is that my problem? Instead, what they should be saying is, do you really think you're going to make it through another tough winter with that car? For less than it will cost you to get that car through this winter, we can put you in a brand new set of wheels today. And something else that almost never works in radio commercials, phone numbers. One exception, if the phone number spells something or is really easy to remember. Otherwise, a phone number is 10 words. And if you repeat it, it's 20 words that instead you could have spent addressing the consumer's need and explaining how your product or service is the solution. Now, about digital. There are going to be advertising reps and consultants offering to sell you your name on Google. Don't believe it. And here's a specific example from the same radio station in Texas. If you enter the search term Tyler, Texas, roofing, here's what comes up. 3 of them above the fold with no scrolling. If instead you entered cables roofing, here's what you get above the fold. 4 items and a whole little splash page with their phone number and vitals and a link to their website. And the reason you would search the name of the business rather than their generic category is because the business owns that position in the listener's mind. They sit on the top rung of the ladder that says roofing because every day in the Rush Limbaugh show, this is what you hear all 3 hours at the end of the newscast and just before Rush starts talking. Here are 3 10-second commercials that we rotate.
Hail to the roof! Hail to the roof! Don't be ruled by leaks to your roof. Suffering from hail or leaks, new or old. Call Cables Roofing right now, serving Greater Tyler. Cables Roofing. Good morning, Tyler! Cables Roofing has you covered. Hail damage or an old stained roof have you concerned? Call an insurance expert. Call Cables Roofing. Worried about those roof leaks? Well, we've got you covered at Cables Roofing. If it's new, old, or weathered, when you're thinking about a roof, call Cables.
Here's another example closer to home. Me. If you type Talk Radio Consultant into Google, I will always come up first. Here I am the top 3 results when I searched. And this happens for a number of reasons. One of them is that my website isn't just a brochure about me. I keep putting new stuff up there from time to time. And when I write an article that gets published in the trade press, that will show up in the search, as you'll see on this screen. But there's another reason, which is sneaky and is legal. And this could be a great idea for your business. My website, hollandcooke.com, is really a detour. I own the domain name, but it redirects to a WordPress blog where my website really lives. My website is really hollandcookemedia.wordpress.com, but rather than asking you to type all that in, I do a detour there from hollandcooke.com, and that's not the only address that detours to my blog. If you type in Talk Radio Consultant, it takes you there too. And here's something the internet experts warn you never to do, which I think you should. The internet experts say never buy a hyphenated domain name such as talk-radio-consultant.com. And the reason the experts warn against that is that human beings will mess it up when they type it in. The hyphens are too tricky, and the longer the domain name it is, the greater chance for human error. We're not doing this for humans. We're doing this for spiders. The Google spiders that are constantly crawling around the internet looking for search terms. And what the hyphens do is separate the words talk, radio, consultant, so the spider can see them as separate words. And you know, the first thing the Google spider sees is your domain name. So consider, for instance, if you're in Fargo, North Dakota, and you do kitchen remodeling, why not get fargo-kitchen-remodeling.com? And if it's less expensive than .com, and you find GoDaddy doing a 99-cent sale on .biz or .us, get that, because it doesn't matter what's after the dot. You want the spiders to read separate words before the dot. Think about the words your prospect will type into the search box on Google, and consider buying multiple domain names with hyphens in the middle that detour them to your website. Another caution about digital advertising: the Wall Street Journal reports that a fresh wave of advertisers has suspended commercials on YouTube after their ads showed up next to videos that appeared to attract pedophile viewers. We've seen beheadings on YouTube, and who knows what you're going to show up next to on Facebook or Twitter. So be careful. Procter & Gamble is. They are among major advertisers expressing concern with fraudulent airplay, ads ending up on questionable websites, and consumers paying no attention to online ads. Advertisers find none of that on broadcast radio, which is one of the reasons Procter & Gamble is moving digital money back to broadcast radio. This is the term click fraud that you may have heard. Robots simulating actual clicks. Do you really know you're getting your money's worth? And while I have you, a word about people my age, the baby boomers. We still drive the economy, even though we're outnumbered by those millennials who will spend the next several decades trying to pay off student loans. Baby boomers, born between 1946 and 1964, are habitual, lifelong radio listeners. People age 55 plus control 42% of USA consumer spending. For instance, over a lifetime, the average person owns 13 cars, but only bought 6 of them before age 50. And on July 1, 2016, something wonderful began, and it will never end. On July 1, 2016, the oldest of the baby boomers turned 70 and a half. the age at which they are required by law to begin withdrawing money from IRA accounts. It's the required minimum distribution, RMD. Billions and billions of dollars that have been squirreled away for decades, earning interest, now flowing back into the retail economy. And look where boomers are spending it. The low-hanging fruit is legal and financial advice about how to manage their money in retirement. Boomers are also extremely interested in health and fitness. They will pay for convenience. Sure, they own a lawnmower, but isn't there something they'd rather be doing? And they dote over their grandchildren. In 1980, there were 40 million grandparents in the USA. By 2020, there'll be twice as many. Baby boomers are the most valuable generation for marketers. They hold 70% of disposable income, yet only 10% of marketing dollars talk to them. So whether it's the digital sales reps or the radio sales reps or whoever is steering you toward millennials, instead, fish where the fish swim. Talk to the generation that has the most money. This is particularly opportune if you sell anything of interest to home owners. And I speak from experience. Here are two of my clients. The Money Pit Home Improvement Radio Show is on 330 plus radio stations across the USA. And my other client is the National Association of Realtors, whose weekend talk show, Real Estate Today, talks to people buying and selling and owning homes. These are weekend Ask the Expert shows that showcase a message for a home-related advertiser very well. After all, everybody who hears the message is interested in something related to the home. And we expose your message outside of those shows all week long with a week-long commercial schedule and a short vignette from those shows that plays throughout the week. Your commercial can be what's called native content, meaning the commercial within these shows can tell a story about your product or service rather than just doing the pitch. And the hosts of these national shows are available to read your pitch and endorse your product or service. No charge. Why the home category is particularly opportune: 57% of homeowners age 49 to 67 plan to move. They're empty nesters. 70% of that group want their new home to be their best ever. And those staying put are what we call aging in place. And that's big business for remodelers. In conclusion, at WZFG, we do it backwards. Our sales reps will approach you differently than any other marketing or advertising sales reps. Here's what the other guys do. They take that napkin where they scribbled the notes from your meeting and they throw that at somebody at the radio station who's going to bang out a script. Or maybe the rep, him or herself, will bang out a script. But the reason they bang it out quickly is churn. They have to get out and close new business because the business they have wasn't getting results, because they banged out the script, because the business was churning, because they had to go close new business. It's a vicious cycle. We do it the opposite. Do the message first. Approach your marketing campaign this way with any marketing media you purchase. Before they put the pen in your hand or even quote you the rates, make them tell your story and make them do it over and over until it's perfect. That's what we do. And I personally will help you if you'd like AM1100, the flag, to tell your story.